You've definitely heard of the Indian Premier League, right? But do you know the absolutely insane story of how it was born? We're going to dive into how the IPL went from a dream that was basically dead and buried to a global sensation. It's an incredible story of ambition, spectacular failure, and a wild 4-month sprint that completely changed sports forever.
So, let me just ask you this. Imagine you have a dream idea for a brand new sports league. You finally get the green light. The catch? You have exactly 4 months to build the entire thing. From scratch. I mean, from nothing. No teams, no players, no schedule. Just an idea. How on earth do you pull something like that off?
To really get this, we've got to go back in time. And, this story doesn't start with some huge success. Nope. It starts with a massive, crushing failure. It starts with one guy who was about a decade ahead of his time and the system that completely shut him down.
The guy with this big idea was Lalit Modi. He was looking at American sports, the NBA, the NFL, and he's thinking, why don't we have that in India? City-based teams, local rivalries. Now, you got to understand, back then, this was a wild idea. In India, cricket meant one thing, the national team. That's who everyone cheered for. Local clubs? That just wasn't really a thing.
So way back in '96, Modi actually gets the green light. He's on his way. He's starting to sign players. And then, bam! The BCCI, the big bosses of Indian cricket, they pull the plug. Just like that. His dream? Dead in the water. For more than 10 years, it was just gone. Until, well, the entire sport of cricket started to change in a big way.
So what does Modi do? Give up? No way. He decides to play the long game. He figures, if I can't beat him, I'm going to join him. And for the next decade, that's exactly what he does. He grinds his way up through the ranks of cricket administration, gaining more and more power until he's a big shot inside the exact same organization that killed his dream in the first place. Pretty smart, right?
Okay, so while Modi's making his moves behind the scenes, something huge is happening out on the field. The game of cricket is about to get a major shakeup.
Think about it. For 100 years, cricket was slow. You had test matches that went on for 5 days. Even the shorter version took up an entire day. Then T20 comes along, 2020. It's like cricket on rocket fuel. A whole game, start to finish, in just 3 hours. All big hits, crazy fielding. It was just pure action, totally built for primetime TV and a whole new generation.
But the establishment, the BCCI, they hated it. They thought it was just a silly gimmick, a sideshow. They were worried it would steal fans away from their real moneymakers, the one-day games. So they pretty much just ignored it. I mean, get this. By 2007, India had barely even played a serious T20 match.
And then, the moment that changes everything. The very first T20 World Cup is happening. And India, well, they basically send their B team. All the big superstars, they stay home. Nobody, and I mean nobody, expected them to do anything.
But here's the thing. They just kept winning. And with every victory, the whole country started to get hooked. And then they make it to the final against their biggest rival, Pakistan. The viewership number is just staggering, 47.2%. Almost half of everyone watching TV in India was tuned into this gimmick that the board didn't even care about.
And then they win it all. The whole country just erupts. We're talking 2 million people flooding the streets of Mumbai to welcome them home. It was more than just a sports victory, it was a cultural explosion. And for Lalit Modi, watching all this was it. This was his proof. India wasn't just ready for T20, it was absolutely starving for it.
So the timing is perfect. The passion is there. But now comes the really hard part. How do you take all this incredible energy and actually turn it into a stable, billion-dollar business?
Modi basically broke this impossible job down into 4 giant hurdles he had to clear. First, the players. You gotta have the stars. Second, the broadcasters. You need a huge TV deal. Third, the owners. You have to find people to buy teams that don't even exist yet. And fourth, you have to get all the other cricket boards around the world to play ball. Any one of these could have sunk the whole thing before it even started.
And for Modi, everything hinged on one thing first and foremost, the talent. He said it himself, without the players, we have nothing. That was priority number 1.
But that leads to the biggest problem, right? Imagine the sales pitch. Hey, want to give me millions and millions of dollars to buy a team that has, well, nothing? No players yet, no stadium, no history, nothing.
Who in their right mind would buy that?
Well, here's where Modi was an absolute genius. He came up with a killer solution. He told potential owners, look, you're not just buying a team, you're buying a piece of the entire league, specifically a big slice of the TV broadcast money. That central revenue was going to be huge, and he guaranteed every single team would get an equal share. All of a sudden, the risk goes way, way down. You had a built-in revenue stream from day one.
Okay, so the business model is brilliant. But now, he actually has to build the thing. And remember that insane deadline? This is where the story kicks into high gear and goes from strategic to just plain frantic.
The BCCI officially gives him the go-ahead, and they hand him $25 million to get started, basically seed money to go out and lure the players. Sounds great, right? But there were some serious strings attached.
Check out this deal. Modi had to work for free, no salary. He had to pay for all his own travel, his own expenses, everything. He had to run the entire league out of his own personal office. But in return, he got the one thing he craved: total control. The board promised not to meddle for 5 years. It was his baby. His to make or his to mess up completely.
And the clock was officially ticking. Just think about this. In 4 months, 4, from December to April, he had to lock down the media rights, create and sell 8 brand new franchises, invent and execute a global player auction, and get the entire tournament schedule ready to go. It wasn't a marathon, it was an all-out, frantic sprint.
So all the business pieces are flying into place, the deadline is screaming closer, and then Modi adds his final masterstroke. The one ingredient that would take this from just another sports league to a cultural juggernaut.
Modi knew that in India there are 2 religions, cricket and Bollywood movies. So he thought, why not combine them? He personally went out and recruited some of the biggest movie stars in the country. We're talking absolute A-listers to buy the teams. All of a sudden, this wasn't just a sports page story. It was a front-page entertainment story. It was for everyone.
And the effect was instant. People immediately saw that this was something totally different. A newspaper editor in Mumbai pointed out that the games were packed with entire families. Women, kids, everyone. It was becoming a true family event. It was so big, he said, it could actually become a real rival to the film industry itself.
So that brings us to the big question, right? Did the IPL just create the future of entertainment? When you think about it, mixing this high-stakes, high-octane sport with celebrity glamour and wrapping it all up in a perfect, bite-sized package for TV, they didn't just build a new cricket league. You could argue they wrote the playbook for modern mass-market entertainment, a playbook that leagues all over the globe are still trying to copy today.